We are very excited to reboot our Chef in a Shoestring segment this morning with a new food segment simply called The Dish. Instead of 3 recipes, you will get to know.
That was a clip from exactly 1 decade ago. That's right. This morning is the 10th anniversary of The Dish. And to mark the occasion, we have a very special one for you. 5-time award winner, James Beard Award winner Dorie Greenspan, also the author of more than a dozen best-selling cookbooks. Her latest, the just-released Baking with Dorie, sweet, salty, and simple. Not bad for a woman who says she nearly burned the house down trying to cook at age 12. Banished from the kitchen then, it soon became her kingdom. The perfect place for us to sit down as she shared more of her story in between bites of her tantalizing creations.
Have a gougère.
Okay.
So French cheese puff, normally made with Comté or Gruyere, but these have Gouda in them and some cumin also.
Dorie Greenspan welcomed me to her Connecticut home as she would an old friend.
And when you come in, you can smell them baking. And so I say, hi, hand you wine, hand you gougère, and
I say, whatever you need, Dorie, whatever you need.
Her food, just part of the warmth that envelops you. The rest is all Dorie.
I got married when I was 19, and I taught myself to cook and bake. My mother used the oven to hold bread and crackers and things like that. But I found that baking, it was relaxing. It was so satisfying that you would take ingredients and you can see things change. And you bake to share. There are a million things I love about baking.
As evidenced in her latest cookbook, Baking with Dorie, her 14th in a 30-year span, part of a career that took some warming up to.
I was terrible in a professional kitchen.
Why?
I was so slow. You know, I say baking's easy because you follow a recipe, but I kept changing the recipes. I got fired from my first baking job, for creative insubordination.
That same creative insubordination led Dorie to a writing job at Food & Wine magazine, and eventually cookbook projects with the likes of Danielle Boulud, Julia Child, and Pierre Hermé.
They were all generous. They were all ready to teach me, and I learned.
What was scary as you were trying to build this career?
I was scared because I was afraid I didn't know enough. I was afraid I wasn't good enough. I wasn't trained. I couldn't say, oh, look at my degree from cooking school. But I wanted to, so I kept saying yes and being scared. So if you would just smush it around. Yep.
I'm a good assistant.
You're a good smusher.
She then took what she learned and passed it on to the rest of us, one cookbook at a time.
I'd love to think that the work I do encourages people to come into the kitchen and teaches them. I think perfection is overrated. I find that this one's skinny and this one's a little chubbier.
Right.
They're cute. When something isn't perfect, in a way you're seeing the maker's fingerprints on it. And what could be better than that?
As for leaving her own mark, there's her New York Times food columns, social media.
Take a spatula and give them a few smart smacks. Boom, boom. It's kind of fun.
14 cookbooks.
Yeah.
5 James Beard Awards.
I should be taller.
I mean, seriously, your list of accolades is unbelievable.
I think I was so lucky that I found something that just filled me. Julia Child said famously, find something you're passionate about and stick to it.
And there was more.
She said, we're so lucky. I thought, yeah, I'm with Julia. This is pretty swell. She said, we're so lucky because we work in food and we'll never stop learning. She was so curious, so open to new ideas. There's always something new to learn. She was right.
Like when Dorie altered her legendary chocolate cookie recipe at a friend's urging.
So this is a world peace cookie,
Okay.
2.0, but it looks very much like 1.0, except I added ingredients that I thought matched the qualities in women that I admire.
rye flour for groundedness, freeze-dried raspberries for sass, even red chili pepper for unpredictability.
When I realized that I could get these qualities in a cookie that tasted, it's good, right?
Delicious. Well, I just finished the whole thing, so yeah.
You did finish the whole thing.
The cookies, just one of the recipes from Baking with Dorie I was lucky enough to devour. There was also a spinach mozzarella parmesan crumble pie, ricotta blueberry coffee cake, and the Lisbon chocolate cake, which earned a spot on the cover.
We stopped at a cafe that served only coffee, tea, and this cake. I loved it, but there was no time to find out how it was made. I took a picture of it, and the following day in Paris, I started making this cake.
Just experimenting.
Just to try and get the flavor that I remembered, the look that I loved.
Dorie's travels, the inspiration for many of her cookbooks, including her latest, until the coronavirus hit. Her inspiration then found at home with her husband, son, and pregnant daughter-in-law.
I had people I wanted to feed. The food in the book, what I baked, is because I wanted to feed my family.
Which now includes her granddaughter, Gemma, born just a week after the cookbook was finished, and who it's dedicated to.
Right now, are you already thinking about what's next?
I'm not always sure what's next,
Right.
but I'm always thinking of what's next. Somebody said to me recently, "You should retire." And I said, "Why?" I love what I do so much that I can't imagine not doing it. I mean, I go into the kitchen, I make something, and I think, what if I changed it just a little bit? And it all starts. I can't help myself, and I don't want to. And I don't want to.
So you saw me smooshing with Dorie. I got to bake with her, which was just unbelievable. And we actually have more of our conversation if you want to catch it on our CBS Mornings podcast. But I started saying I was smooshing with her. She made me bake cookies for you, basically. This is the dough that we created together. And then I baked these. Remember, she talked in the piece about the fingerprints because when you're baking at home, that's what you want.
I was going to mention that.
There's some fingerprints there. It's not as perfect
and they're
as
still
hers.
gooey.
And they're delicious. They are delicious.
There's one with the chili peppers in it. Oh, yeah.
And the raspberry in it.
Taste the raspberry.
Amazing.
Whole raspberries or? Okay.
You smushed so well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You did a
I
good
love
job.
baking. Oh.